My name is Carson Seelman, and this is On Air with Heritage Action, a podcast built for conservatives. Twice a week, we break down some of the most important issues facing our country and talk about how you can get involved today in the fight for conservative values. This week, President Biden traveled to Pennsylvania to give remarks on how he next wants to destroy our constitutional rights. Unsurprisingly, this time he decided to target the Second Amendment while announcing his so-called Safer America plan. His plan is to gaslight the American people on the left's previous defund the police movement and put more arbitrary gun control measures in place. But we all know that this plan won't actually make America safer. It will actually take away our ability to defend ourselves and our families. And it will do that while slowly chipping away at our constitutional Second Amendment rights. Americans have the right to own a firearm and have the right to defend themselves and their families. End of story. But Biden clearly doesn't understand that, and he doesn't seem to care about the rights and safety of law-abiding citizens. In fact, he spent a lot of the time during his speech in Pennsylvania this week actually mocking gun owners for exercising their rights. Listen to him show his true feelings on the Second Amendment and its supporters.
They're not unlimited. Right now, you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon. You can't go out and buy a cannon. And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun. No, I'm not joking. Think about this. Think about the rationale that's used to provide this. And who are they shooting at? Shooting at these guys behind me.
Aside from Biden not making much sense, there really is no logic behind what he's saying. The Second Amendment is about keeping America independent and safe. It is about protecting our rights, protecting our families, and protecting our communities. Next, let's listen to Biden's so-called solution to gun violence.
But we're not stopping here. I'm determined to ban assault weapons in this country. Determined. I did it once before, and I'll do it again.
First off, he really is saying the quiet part out loud when he says that we aren't stopping here. That actually might be the most honest line from his entire speech. Gun control has long been a priority for the left, and the strategy they've used to get so many of the firearms restrictions we have today has been to slowly chip away at gun rights through plans like this and to slip in compromise solutions into negotiations for broader legislation. But let's dive into the, quote, assault weapons ban thing a little bit more. This is a main part of Biden's plan, but what even is a, quote, assault weapon? The left loves to use that phrase to scare everybody, but it isn't actually a technical or legal term. As Amy Swearer from the Heritage Foundation has pointed out in testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, assault weapons are actually just categorized based only on cosmetic features. So think barrel shrouds, pistol grips, forward grips, etc. And as any responsible gun owner will tell you, these features don't make the firearm more deadly or dangerous, nor do they increase the rate of rounds you can fire. Actually, in a lot of cases, they can make operating the firearm safer and offer more control for the handler. And Biden did support an assault weapons ban, but he is completely wrong on how that ban affected crime. What did Biden's first assault weapons ban do? Well, according to a 2004 report from the Department of Justice's National Institute of Justice, it really didn't do much of anything. In fact, according to Breitbart's reporting, the ban actually could not be credited with any reduction in crime. Why is that? Well, most criminals are not actually using these weapons. They are using more concealable handguns, and a lot of them are purchased or carried illegally anyways. After 2004, most studies found that these kinds of weapons were only used in about 2% of gun crimes. So what does this plan really accomplish? With Biden's crime crisis hitting nearly all of our cities and communities, this is the last thing we need to keep ourselves and our families safe. Aside from mocking our rights and insulting our Constitution, Biden's speech and foundation for his gun control plan is completely full of errors and downright lies about the efficacy of assault weapons bans. There is no denying that America is facing a crime crisis, but Biden's bans will not actually make us safer. In fact, they will do the opposite. Let's break down some of the crime statistics we are seeing out of our major cities. Ilhan Omar is a well-known supporter of the Defund the Police movement, but the crime wave is hitting her home district hard. This year alone, crime has spiked in 9 of 14 categories. In Minneapolis, this includes an increase in carjackings by over 21%, larceny and thefts are up by over 30%, and assaults are up more than 10%. It's no wonder why Minneapolis residents actually voted to refund the police in February of last year. Here in Washington, D.C., there is a major crime spike too. When you walk into some of our pharmacies, grocery stores, or other shops, there's a pretty good chance you might see someone looting the stores. Don't forget, a professional football player was also just shot multiple times in a carjacking just this past weekend. According to D.C. crime statistics, 141 people in the District of Columbia has been killed in 2022 alone. And D.C. police has also made the point that their average homicide suspect has usually already been arrested about 10 times prior to being taken into custody for murder, meaning they are repeat offenders. I wonder what the DAs and activist judges would have to say about that. And take New York City. Feels like every other day news breaks about some random violent crime happening on a subway platform or just on the streets in Manhattan. According to the City of New York, shooting incidents increased 13.4% in July 2022. They also say that the overall crime index in New York City increased by over 30% in July 22, compared with the same time last year. Not that anyone should be shocked, but all these cities are run by liberal leaders, and none of the spikes I just talked about will be solved by taking away firearms from law-abiding citizens. In fact, most of these liberal cities have some of the strictest gun control laws already on the books. The only thing that will change will be that law-abiding citizens will no longer have access to protect themselves, their families, and their property. What this comes down to is yet another example of Biden using a self-inflicted crisis to try and push long-standing political priorities, like gun control in this case. The crime crisis is certainly worse in liberal cities, but it is affecting us all. It is affecting businesses trying to bounce back from COVID shutdowns, and it could be coming to a city near you. Instead of punishing law-abiding gun owners and destroying our rights, there are some other ways we can solve Biden's crime crisis. First off, we can hold the left accountable for their activist judges and progressive DAs who keep criminals on the streets and fail on every level to uphold our nation's laws. Criminals don't think there are any real consequences if they commit a crime, and unfortunately in some cities they're right. Next, we can empower law enforcement instead of allowing the left to villainize the officers who put their lives on the line every day to protect us. While Biden claims to back the blue, we all remember the left's defund the police rhetoric that led to attacks on police officers and record retirements in law enforcement. Finally, we can protect the Second Amendment. We can protect our rights to defend ourselves and our communities. We can reject Biden's plan and hold those truly responsible for this crime crisis accountable. What you can do right now at home is pledge your own support for our law enforcement. Head to heritageaction.com/policepledge and add your name to the list of citizens supporting our police officers. You can also check and see if your state and federal elected officials have signed their support. If they haven't, make sure you call them and tell them you want to see their name on that list. That's it for another episode of On Air with Heritage Action. Thank you for tuning in. If you like what you heard in today's episode, please click the follow button. If you want to receive a text message each time a new episode airs, text podcast to 51776 and you'll never miss an episode. That's podcast to 51776. Hi, it's me again, and we need your help. If you like the insights and activist resources we are providing, please take 1 minute and help us spread the word. Share this episode with friends and family on social media, email, or text. We need everyone's help in the fight to hold Washington accountable. And don't forget, you are also able to subscribe and listen to episodes on your smartphone. Just open up your favorite podcast app and search for On Air with Heritage Action. Click subscribe and download episodes so that you can take them with you on the go. It's the best way to make sure you never miss a thing. Thanks.